you will hear about some shocking discoveries that new homeowners who have just moved into their new build homes are discovering as they settle in. So let's get right into why I'm making this video. Recently, I've heard tons of horror stories from homeowners who have just moved into their new build homes, and I want to shed some light on this situation so you know how to best protect yourself if buying a new build is the route you decide to take. I think anytime you have a surge in demand in the real estate market, you're going to find builders that are willing to take shortcuts, yet willing to fully take advantage of surging prices in the marketplace. I've actually been witness to this several times in the last 25 years throughout my real estate career and my own personal real estate endeavors. Right now, what we're seeing in the Las Vegas area is that builders have houses that were under contract over a year ago, and they are not immune to the falling prices and the rising interest rates. Many people who are under contract on these new build homes, say 9 to 12 months ago, are finding that they can no longer afford the homes that they went under contract with. This is because when interest rates rise, buying power goes down. So for every 1% that the interest rate goes up, a buyer loses 10% buying power. So they've essentially been priced out of the market. For example, if a buyer went under contract with a house that was $400,000 and the interest rates were 5% at that time, they could afford their house payment and they could qualify for that loan. But let's say now that same house, they're still under contract for $400,000, but now the rates have gone up 6%. They can really only afford a $360,000 home now and probably can only qualify for that as well. So this leaves builders with what we call standing inventory. The buyers fall out, and now the builders have this house that's ready to be sold, and they're stuck with it. So this is actually a really good thing for buyers, because when builders have standing inventory, they have dollars tied up in that inventory. So they are offering huge incentives. We've seen things like appliance packages being thrown in, list prices being cut $250,000. Some builders are offering buyer's agents 6% commission, where this sounds crazy to us because typically a buyer's agent makes about 3%, sometimes 4%. But during the surge of real estate the last couple years, there were many builders that wouldn't even pay us to represent our clients. Not even 1%. So for them to jump all the way to 6%, it's pretty crazy. But for you as a buyer, there are so many other incentives like landscape packages. They will pay lenders fees, closing costs, rate buy downs. I mean, you name it. There are so many things that us as agents can ask for from these builders for you as a buyer that are such an incentive to you. Which leads me to my next thought. Many buyers don't realize that if they walk into a new build sales office, they automatically are relinquishing the right to work with an agent, unless that agent is accompanying you on your first visit. And a lot of people don't realize that this is actually a very important time to have an agent, because it is not in your best interest to purchase a home from someone who is acting as an agent for the builder. Buying a house from a builder without an agent is like going into a litigation without a lawyer. You would never go into a lawsuit and trust the other person's lawyer to advise you on and guide you on right and wrong in the litigation process. Which you also should not do that when you're purchasing a home, because like I said, the sales office representative, their fiduciary responsibility is to the builder, not you. Me as a buyer's agent, my fiduciary responsibility is to you, and my best interest is to protect your best interest in the transaction. So that's why it's really important to make sure, even if you're just thinking, oh, let's just go check out that sales office, that new neighborhood that's going up around the corner. No, make sure you bring your agent, because they will not let us step in partially through the way or even on your second visit We can't represent you. They will not pay us. They won't allow us to. So please make sure, if you're even in the market thinking whatever about walking into a new build, take your agent with you. By the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lisa Lopez, and I'm a real estate consultant in the Las Vegas area. I specialize in luxury real estate, and I have a passion in helping families just like you achieve the American dream of homeownership. For more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified every time I drop a new video. Now let's talk a little bit about why having someone in your corner is so important. So I bought my first house back in 1998, but before that, I probably started shopping around 1996. And when I started doing my research for this video, I started to remember that there is a clear correlation between housing surges and shoddy construction. And of course, my research proved me right. My purpose for bringing your attention to this is to educate you, because I believe knowledge is power. And the more knowledge you have, you can protect yourself throughout the transaction process, and you can also help minimize your risk after close of escrow. Okay, story time. Just within the last month or so, a news story in Las Vegas had broke out that some new homeowners that purchased their homes recently in the North Las Vegas area were reporting huge defects in their homes. Defects like settling cracks in the walls. We all know that's kind of normal to an extent. Being able to hear the trusses moving all day and all night. I would assume these sounds were maybe creaking, cracking, squeaking, like settling sounds, but excessively. They had kitchen cabinets falling off of their walls. Their walls were literally separating from the ceilings. One homeowner actually reported having a sinkhole in the middle of her living room, and they voluntarily let news reporters come in to see that these defects were real. When I read this story, it reminded me of a story from back in 1996, also in North Las Vegas, where about the exact same thing happened. And when I did more research on it, I found that the problems that these homes were having were almost identical to the problems that the homes are having now. So through my research, I found that there was a geologist by the name of John Bell who worked out of University Nevada, Reno, that said in the North Las Vegas area, we actually do have our main water source. As we pull water from that source, the soil expands and contracts. He says there's 3 things that are wrong with the soil out there, and it can be built upon. It just needs to be prepped properly, which evidently is not happening. So in this case, yes, having a real estate agent who's been around a long time and knows those little hidden secrets about the city is very important. But also having an agent that can advise you on inspections that can be done during a new build process is also very important. It's just rather interesting to me that the first time I was aware this happened was in 1996. So how are we repeating this in 2022? I really don't understand how that slipped through the cracks. Now, that's just in one area of town, and it's a soil issue. But North Las Vegas is not the only part of town where we see a lot of builder defects. Like I said, whenever you have a surge in demand, builders will start taking shortcuts. But not always is it the builder's fault. Sometimes it's the manufacturer's fault. Like in this instance that I'm about to tell you, we had a very reputable luxury home builder who built an entire development and didn't realize until homeowners moved in that the windows were defective. Now, the builder is more than willing to make right by the defect, but even when they replaced the defective windows, they found out those were defective as well. My reason for telling you this is so that you have full knowledge in when you're making a decision on if you want to buy a new build home or not, because it is an undertaking. When you buy a new home, it's kind of like buying a brand new car. You don't really know what the problems are, and it takes some time to work the problems out. which that's usually why builders offer a 1-year kind of bumper to bumper warranty on your home. But that doesn't take away from your inconvenience. Because let me tell you, those homeowners that need their windows replaced, they have to move out of their homes for a week. Sounds great, right? You get to live in a hotel, eat out, it's all on the builder's dime. Great. But what about those people who have pets? And what about those people who have children that still have to go to school every day and don't want to go sit at a restaurant and eat out every single night when your kid's homework needs to be done? And what about all those lunches you make in the morning for those kids to go to school with? And when you need to do your laundry and you have nowhere to go? Can you tell I've been here before? It's really inconvenient. And it's stressful, and it weighs on your family day-to-day stress. It weighs on your work stress. It's added stress. So it's something that I think as a buyer, you really need to be aware of, because the odds of you having a huge construction problem when you buy a resale are a little less. Maybe not, because you could also have plumbing issues and things of that nature. But I think most buyers go into the new build home buying process kind of with wool over their eyes, thinking everything's going to be perfect. And I'm not trying to rain on your parade. I'm just trying to bring you knowledge so that you can make a very educated decision when the time comes. And these problems are not only happening in the track and semi-custom home world, it's also happening in the custom home world as well. Some of the biggest names in custom home building in this city have had construction defect claims and complaints from their buyers as well. So no one is immune to it, but everyone can protect themselves and do their best part in preventing it. After hearing these stories, I'd love to hear if you're willing to take on a new build construction project yourself. Let me know in the comments. I just gave you all these horrifying scenarios, so I can't leave you hanging without any solutions. I know it can seem like overkill, but I actually like to hire an outside inspector along the build process. I don't really have a set number of inspections I like to recommend to my clients or that I have on my own new builds. I kind of take it as I watch the project come along, but generally 2 inspections are pretty important. One would be during your frame walk time period, which is when all of the bones of your home are still exposed. It's very important to time this one just right, because you want to be sure that all of your plumbing and electrical and any other things you may have, central vacs, that's within the walls, you want to be sure that's all installed, because your inspector can go in based off of your upgrades that you've selected to make sure that they're all there and also that they're installed properly. So during one of these frame walk inspections that I had done on one of my own personal homes, I actually discovered that we had a lot of squeaky floorboards. Now, this was really important to me and maybe should be important to you. But when you move into a new home and you discover 6 months down the road that the floorboards are squeaking, they're very difficult to find which ones are squeaking and the location, because sometimes you might step here and cause a creak over there. Now with carpet, tile, furniture, whatever else you have in there once you're moved in, it makes it very difficult. So what they have to do is pull up all your carpet or your tile, which is even more of a pain, and find the board and then repair it. But if you can find this floorboard ahead of time, just think of all of the headaches that you can alleviate down the road for yourself. So that's another really important thing to have checked while you're in that frame walk stage still. Another time that I absolutely say is a must that you have your outside inspector come is during your walkthrough process. Your builder will allow you to do a walkthrough and they will test things with you, but again, they represent the builder. You want someone who's working for you and looking extra hard for things that might not work, that don't come to your mind as a homeowner. And trust me, as long as I've been in this business and as many homes as I've bought myself or closed on for clients, we never think about all the things that could actually go wrong and should be tested during a walkthrough process. So those are two really big times that I think outside inspectors should come and get involved during a new build project. A lot of people think it's overkill to hire an outside inspector because builders have to pass county inspections. But county inspections have not prevented defect issues from happening or getting through the cracks, and I don't believe that they're going to prevent defects from slipping through the cracks anytime soon. In my opinion, I would never rule out purchasing a new build home or building a custom home right now. I would just highly recommend that you go into the transaction with a trusted real estate professional who can guide you along the way and also has your best interest at heart. I would also make sure to cover all of my bases, and I would remember that although the sales representative that is selling you a home for a builder is not representing you, they are representing the builder and they have the builder's best interest at heart. To find out more about resale homes versus new construction, make sure to check out this video. See you on the next one.